Hi, my name's Lee Matthews and I'm a physiotherapist, and this is Pilates, Rehab, Relax. Don't forget to click the like button and subscribe for all of my latest things like Pilates routines, gentle rehab exercises and relaxation sessions. So today I'm going to guide you through some gentle stretches for your shoulder. It's aimed for things like a frozen shoulder that's starting to get better and you need some gentle stretching to improve that movement there. It's also the sort of thing you could do if you've broken your shoulder, it's mended but it's been quite stiff afterwards. So when the bone's healed, sometimes that shoulder joint can be a little bit stiff, and doing these little and often can just improve that flexibility and make it easier for things like reaching up into the cupboard or scratching behind your back or going to the bathroom. With anything like this, start gentle and definitely make sure that it's safe to start doing these in the first place. If you've had a broken arm or if your frozen shoulder is really sore to begin, sometimes that healing, that little bit of pain relief can be more important to begin with. I'm going to guide you through 5 exercises that you can do, and there's a couple of props I'm going to use. So the first of those will be a cloth, it could be a duster, it could be a tea towel, and I'm going to use a table for that exercise. The other thing that I'm going to use is an umbrella. You might have a walking stick or some sort of walking pole or something, and a broom handle would be fine as well, but just do make sure you've got space to move, because I don't want you demolishing the house and knocking all the ornaments over here. So the first of our exercises we're going to do is a pendular exercise, like a pendulum of a clock. We're going to swing our arm back and forth. So if we imagine that my bad arm is the one that I've got a watch strap on, so I'm going to stand near my table and I'm going to lean with my good arm onto that table. I'm going to keep my back nice and straight and poke my bottom out slightly, and like the pendulum of a clock, I'm going to swing that arm back and forwards there. So you can let gravity help there, and just let that momentum carry you. And I'm going to start off by swinging forwards and backwards. You might only do a small swing to begin with if you're feeling quite sore there, but as you get better, you can go further. And the way you make the exercise more challenging, if you step further away from the table and bending forwards, you're actually going through a slightly further range of movement there. So with that pendular swinging, what I can also do is change direction and go inwards and outwards. And we could also make some circles there. Like you're stirring a big pot. And then, by all means change direction and go the other way. And then we can relax. So it might be you just do 10 repetitions going forwards and backwards or side to side there, but it's just a nice way of starting to warm up the shoulder and get it moving. And for someone that's got a really sore frozen shoulder at the very start of things, that might be the only exercise you do to begin with, just as you're getting that medication to try and get the pain under control. Frozen shoulders can be really irritable in the early stages. Thankfully, as they start to improve, you can then start to build on those stretches. So the second movement we're going to do is a movement of the shoulder we call flexion, and that's that bringing the arm up in front of you that you do if you were to reach up for a cupboard or something like that. And that's where I'm going to use my my trusty tea towel here, or you might have a duster. I'm going to sit myself on a chair and pop that duster or tea towel out in front of you, both of your hands resting on the cloth, and what we're going to do is push that arm out and away from us. So your limitation here is going to be how far the bad arm will let you go. And hold that stretch at the end of range. And then back in again. So always try and relax into the stretch. And don't feel that the first time you've got to go as far as you possibly can. It might even be you do a few forwards and backwards movements before you even do the stretch. And I always find that if you use something like heat before you do the stretching, it just seems to be a bit more comfortable. So you might have a nice wheat pack that you can pop on there. Always be safe if you're applying any heat to yourself, that you wrap it in a nice towel so you don't burn yourself at all. So again, bringing yourself out and away in front of you. It might be stiffness that you feel, it might be pain, it might be both of those things. And I'd say with any stretching, I don't mind you feeling some pain with it, as long as it's something that doesn't persist after you've done the exercises. So if half an hour later it's still really sore, then it might be you're actually pushing too far with it. So just start gentle, see how you find it is to begin with, and then build on that slowly. You might start by only doing a small amount of movement, but over time, go much further with that. So that was the first of our really good stretches there, flexion. The next movement we're going to do is that action of bringing the arm out to the side, and we call that abduction. So by bringing the hand up and out and away from us. And again, if you're struggling, the way we can make that easier is using a trusty umbrella or a walking stick or a broom handle. I'm going to pop my bad arm, so in this case it's this one here. I'm going to pop it onto one side of the umbrella. My palm is facing forwards on this side, and the good arm that's helping, I can hold it however you want really, but I'm going to have it with my knuckles facing towards you there. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to push on the good side, and that's going to help bring the other arm up and out and away from me. And again, when we're doing this, what I want you to make sure is that you're not kind of hitching up with that shoulder there. So keep the shoulder nice and level as you go. And again, so as a stretch, we'll hold and sustain it, but actually it might even be that the first few times you do it, you just get used to the movement. You might do 5 or 10 of these and then do the stretch at the end. Depends how much time you've got available. But again, we hold and we sustain that stretch there. And then back down again. So it's not just important that we do the movement, we want to do it with good quality. And when I'm bringing the arm up and out to the side, I'm trying to keep that shoulder nice and level and not hitching up from here. So do look out how you're doing it there, and there might even be someone watches you while you do the exercises and give you some feedback there. So the fourth exercise we're going to do is the action of bringing the hand up behind the back here. So again, if we imagine that my arm with a watch strap on is my bad arm for this one. If you were really struggling, it might even be to begin with that you just practice, when you're in the shower, get some soap on the back of the hand and bring the arm up and across you. If that's a real struggle, the easiest way you could do it would be to get hold of a towel or the flannel in the shower and just practice pulling it up and across you. So your first goal would be to get that hand towards the midline. So to begin with, you might literally be only able to get your hand to where your bottom cheek is, and your first goal then is to bring it towards the middle of your body there. As you get better with that, the progression would then be to bring the arm up and behind you. So again, we can use the other hand to help us with that movement. There we go, up and behind me. And eventually, when that gets a little bit easier, the progression would be to have the towel up and over the shoulder. So again, if this is my bad arm, I'm going to bring it up behind me, and on the opposite side to my bad arm, I'm going to pull that tea towel or that cloth over the shoulder there. So I reach up as high as I can on its own, and then I'm going to add some resistance here and pull down. And again, let's hold and sustain that. Now, as we're doing this well, I still want you to have a nice level shoulder here. If you're hitching forwards, you're pushing too far. So quality is more important than how far you go. So we're going to hold that for about 30 seconds and then relax again. And then one more time again. So I bring the arm up as far as I can, take up the slack and feel that stretch and hold that for 30 seconds or thereabouts. So that's 4. We've got one last exercise to do, you'll be glad to know. So let me use my chair. You could definitely do this laying on a bed or laying on the floor. Obviously don't get on the floor if it's not safe to do so. But I'm going to use my chair here. So we're going to start off by popping your hands behind the neck. My elbows are out in front of me, and I'm going to just lean back into the chair there. Now, to add a stretch onto this, what we're going to try and do is bring those elbows apart from one another. So imagine you're on a lovely beach somewhere and feel that stretch. Now you're going to clearly find that one side goes further than the other. And again, we hold and sustain that stretch for about 30 seconds. And then back in again. So again, with a lot of these stretches, I think if you did 2 in a row, if you aim to do about 30 seconds or thereabouts, and if you could try and bookend your day, do them a couple of times a day. You might do it after you've had a shower, you might do it in the evening after you've had a heat pack on there, or put a beanie bag that you can put in the microwave on there. And then back in again. So again, if you found that became easy, the progression is to actually have the hands on the top of your head there. So here we go, bringing the arms out to the side, and hold and sustain that stretch. And then back in again. So as you get better with these, the hands get higher and higher. So the progression for this one eventually would be if you imagine you had a big top hat on and did exactly the same thing again. And one more time. There you go. So do work at your own individual capacity. I don't mind pops and creaks. I don't mind there being a twinge and alongside the stiffness. But what I would suggest is that if your discomfort post-exercise is lasting more than about half an hour to an hour, you're probably pushing too hard with the exercises. And I'd much rather you did a little and often approach. Definitely make sure you're taking adequate pain relief. Do use things like heat as well. And little and often, and hopefully you'll find over time that it improves with the range of movement. Things like frozen shoulders are very slow to improve. Sometimes you might only get an extra 10-15 degrees in a month. It can take a good 8 to 12 weeks to see significant change there, and sometimes it can take much longer than that to see a full recovery there. So stretches are best done little and often, and it's a slowly approach. So it can be slow to see improvement. You might even find you don't even notice it yourself, but other people comment on it. But go gentle, do them regularly, and hopefully you'll find they're of benefit. So again, if you wanted to do any neck stretches, I'll put a link up next for my gentle neck stretches video. And once the shoulder's moving more freely, what you might actually then progress on to doing is some gentle rehabilitation exercises for the rotator cuff. And again, I'll try and record a gentle exercise set that I'll put a link for up in front there. But let's go get that movement back first and then work on strengthening the shoulder afterwards. So thanks for watching. Goodbye.